Imagine you're going on a first date. You haven't looked up your date's profile, you haven't thought about where you're going, you don't know if they're vegetarian, you haven't even booked a table. You just show up and wing it. Now, how do you think that date is going to go? Most first dates that start this way end with one person getting a thanks but no thanks text at 11 p.m. And honestly, they deserve it. Hiring without preparation works exactly the same way. Companies post a vague job ad, attract the wrong candidates, interview poorly, make the wrong hire, and then wonder why they have an attrition problem. Welcome back to our HR series. We've covered manpower planning, recruitment sources, and recruitment methods. Today, we tackle the step that happens before any of that recruitment preparation. This is the foundation, the blueprint, the recipe. Without it, even the most sophisticated recruitment strategy will produce mediocre results. Today, we cover four essential preparation tools: job analysis, job description, person specification, and the competency framework. By the end, you'll understand why the best hires start not with an interview, but with a piece of paper. Let's start with the big picture. Recruitment preparation is the entire set of activities an organization undertakes before actively sourcing or interviewing candidates. It's the behind the scenes work that determines whether your eventual hire is a home run or a very expensive mistake. Think of it like building a house. Before a single brick is laid, architects draw blueprints, precise specifications of every room, every wall, every measurement. No builder worth their fee picks up a brick before the blueprint is ready. Recruitment preparation is your hiring blueprint. It answers, what exactly does this role involve? Job analysis. What do we officially communicate about this role? Job description. What kind of person are we looking for? Person specification. What competencies must they demonstrate? Competency framework. Skip any one of these and your entire recruitment process is built on sand. Ha! You know that company that posts the job description must be a team player, dynamic, result-oriented, excellent communication skills, and nothing else. That's a company that skipped recruitment preparation entirely. They'll hire someone in 3 weeks and fire them in 3 months. Guaranteed. And now it's time for a real example. Unilever. Unilever's global talent acquisition team is famous for the rigor of their recruitment preparation. Every role, from entry-level supply chain executive to VP of marketing, goes through a standardized preparation process: job analysis, role profile, success profile, and competency framework. The result? Unilever's quality of hire scores consistently rank among the highest of any FMCG company globally. Everything in recruitment preparation starts with job analysis. Everything. Job analysis is the systematic process of collecting and studying information about a job, its duties, responsibilities, required skills, outcomes, and work environment. It's not an opinion. It's not a guess. It's a structured investigation. Think of a job analyst as a detective investigating a crime scene, except instead of solving a crime, they're documenting a role in enough detail that someone who has never done the job can understand exactly what it involves. Most companies skip job analysis and just copy the previous person's job description from 3 years ago. Then they wonder why the new hire keeps saying, "That wasn't in my JD." It was literally copied from someone who left 3 years ago. The job has completely changed. The JD hasn't. Methods of job analysis. There are 5 main methods used to conduct job analysis. Observation. Watch someone actually doing the job. Best for manual repetitive roles. Not great for knowledge work. Observing a software architect think is not particularly informative. Interview. Sit down with the current role holder, their manager, and key stakeholders. Ask structured questions about tasks, challenges, and success factors. Question is, job holders fill in standardized forms rating the frequency and importance of various tasks, scalable for large organizations. Work diaries or logs. Job holders record their activities over a period of time, reveals actual time allocation versus perceived time allocation, often dramatically different. Critical incident technique. Collect specific examples of highly effective and ineffective job performance. What did the best person in this role do differently, and what did the worst person fail to do? Real example, McKinsey & Co. McKinsey's talent operations team uses a highly structured job analysis process for every client-facing role. They define role complexity levels, expected output metrics, required knowledge areas, and client interaction standards with remarkable specificity. This is why McKinsey can interview a candidate in Bangalore and a candidate in London against the same standard. The job analysis creates a universal benchmark. Now that we've completed the job analysis, we take that information and create that job description. This is arguably the most important document in the entire recruitment process. A job description, or JD, is a formal written document that defines the purpose, duties, responsibilities, reporting relationships, and key performance expectations of a role. It's both an internal management tool and an external communication to candidates. A badly written JD attracts everyone and no one simultaneously. Post, "We're looking for a rockstar ninja unicorn who's passionate about disruption and moves fast," and watch as 500 people apply, none of them being the person you actually needed. Meanwhile, the person you needed read your JD, rolled their eyes, and applied to the company next door. Key components of a job description. Job title. Clear, specific, and searchable. Senior data analyst beats data ninja every time for attracting qualified candidates. Job location, where the role is based, on-site, hybrid, remote. Department and reporting structure, which team they join, who they report to, who reports to them, if applicable. Job purpose or summary, 1 or 2 sentences describing why this role exists, what problem it solves. Key duties and responsibilities. A clear bullet-pointed list of primary responsibilities, usually 5 to 10 items. This is the heart of the JD. Key performance indicators. How success will be measured in this role? What does good look like after 6 months? Salary range and benefits, increasingly included to reduce wasted time for both parties. Terms and conditions, working hours, travel requirements, physical demands. JD as a legal document. This is something many candidates don't realize. The JD is a quasi-legal document. If an employee is asked to regularly perform duties significantly outside their JD without discussion, it can constitute a grievance. If performance is being assessed against criteria that were never communicated, it can be legally challenged. A good JD protects both parties. The organization can hold the employee accountable. The employee can hold the organization accountable. Clarity is the goal. Real example, Infosys. Infosys has standardized JD templates across all their global delivery centers. A JD for an associate software engineer in Pune follows the same structure, language, and detail level as one in Dallas. This standardization allows global talent mobility, consistent performance expectations, and legally sound documentation in every jurisdiction they operate. We have the job analysis done. We've written the job description. Now we need to answer the most human question in recruitment. What kind of person should fill this role? That's the person specification. A person specification, also called a candidate profile or role profile, is a document that describes the attributes, qualifications, skills, experience, and personal qualities required of the ideal candidate for a specific role. Think of it like writing the profile on a dating app, except instead of must love long walks and Thai food, you're writing must have 3+ years of Python experience and demonstrated stakeholder management skills. The principle is identical. You're describing your ideal match. Every recruiter has experienced the horror of hiring someone who looked perfect on paper, right qualifications, right experience, right answers in the interview, and then found out they couldn't actually work with anyone. The person spec exists to catch that. The classic mistake is focusing only on can they do the job and ignoring will they do it here in this culture with these people. Rogers' 7-point plan. The most widely used framework for person specifications is Rogers' 7-point plan, developed by Alec Roger in 1952 and still remarkably relevant today. It structures the person spec across 7 dimensions. 1. Physical attributes, appearance, health, energy levels and physical requirements of the role, relevant only where genuinely job-related, e.g. fire safety roles require physical fitness standards. 2. Attainments, educational qualifications, professional certifications, and specific training required. What must they have already achieved? 3. General intelligence, cognitive ability, problem-solving capacity, and learning speed. Proxy measures include assessment scores and track record of handling complex problems. 4. Special aptitudes, specific technical skills, innate abilities or learned competencies directly required for the role, coding ability, language fluency, analytical thinking. 5. Interests, areas of intellectual or personal engagement that correlate with job performance. A passion for data in a data science role is a genuine advantage. 6. Disposition, personality, temperament, leadership style, attitude towards authority, and interpersonal preferences. Cultural fit lives here. 7. Circumstances, practical considerations, ability to relocate, travel requirements, notice period, often underweighted but frequently the deal breaker. Essential versus desirable. Every item in the person spec should be labeled essential or desirable. Essential criteria are non-negotiable. Candidates who don't meet them are screened out. Desirable criteria add value but aren't deal breakers. This distinction is not cosmetic. It is the legal and ethical backbone of shortlisting. If you screen out a candidate who met all essential criteria for a subjective reason not listed in the spec, you're exposed to discrimination claims. The person spec is your defense and your conscience. Real example, HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank's person specification for their management trainee program is extraordinarily detailed, distinguishing essential criteria like minimum aggregate, specific degrees, English communication standards from desirable criteria like campus leadership roles, internship in BFSI sector, analytical aptitude scores above a threshold. We've analyzed the job, written the description, defined the ideal person. Now we need to answer one more crucial question. What specific behaviors does success look like in this role? That's the competency framework. A competency framework is a structured collection of competencies, observable behaviors, knowledge, and skills that an organization uses to define what good performance looks like across roles and levels. The difference between a person spec and a competency framework is the person spec describes what you need someone to have. The competency framework describes what you need them to do and how. Think of it like this. The person spec selects the player. The competency framework describes how the game should be played. Without a competency framework, good communication skills means something different to every interviewer. One manager thinks it means being eloquent in presentations, another thinks it means replying to emails within an hour, another thinks it means never interrupting in meetings. Without a defined competency, you're interviewing for different jobs in the same interview room. Types of competencies. Core or organizational competencies, behaviors expected of every person in the organization regardless of role. Values alignment, integrity, customer focus, collaboration. Functional or technical competencies, role-specific technical skills and domain knowledge, data analysis for a data analyst, contract negotiation for a procurement officer. Leadership competencies, behaviors expected at management and leadership levels, strategic thinking, team development, change leadership, decision-making under ambiguity. How competencies are used in recruitment? Competencies form the basis of structured behavioral interviews. Instead of asking, "Tell me about yourself," a competency-based interviewer asks, "Tell me about a time you had to deliver a project under significant pressure. What did you do? What was the outcome?" This STAR technique, situation, task, action, result, is the gold standard for behavioral interviewing. It forces candidates to provide evidence of the competency, not just assert it.
Every interview question maps to a competency. Every competency maps to a success behavior. The process is systematic, fair, and legally defensible. Real example. Tata Group. The Tata Group uses a proprietary competency framework called Tata Leadership Practices, TLP, a set of 5 core leadership competencies that define expected behaviors across all Tata companies, from Tata Steel to TCS to Taj Hotels. Every leadership hire and promotion across the group is evaluated against TLP. This creates a common leadership language across an astonishingly diverse conglomerate. Real example, HUL. HUL's purpose-led future-fit leadership framework defines specific behavioral indicators for each competency level, what strategic thinking looks like at graduate level versus at general manager level. This allows interviewers to calibrate their questions and scoring consistently across the organization.
All right, we've covered 4 powerful preparation tools. Now let's see how they all connect. The recruitment preparation flow looks like this. Step 1, job analysis, produces the raw material. All the information about what the role involves, what environment it operates in, and what success looks like. Step 2, job description, turns that raw material into a formal document about the role, duties, responsibilities, reporting lines, KPIs. Step 3, person specification, turns the raw material into a formal document about the person, qualifications, skills, experience, personality, and circumstances. Step 4, competency framework, defines the behaviors, what observable actions separate outstanding performance from average performance in this specific role. These 4 documents then drive every subsequent recruitment decision. The JD powers your job advertising and candidate attraction. The person spec powers your CV screening and initial shortlisting. The competency framework powers your interview questions and assessment design. All 4 together power your hiring decision, providing an objective, evidence-based framework for choosing between final candidates. Without this preparation, recruitment becomes subjective. Subjective recruitment introduces bias. Bias produces homogeneous, poorly performing teams, and the cost cascades. Wrong hire, poor performance, resignation or termination, repeat recruitment. Studies suggest replacing a mid-level employee costs 50 to 200% of their annual salary when you factor in recruitment, onboarding, and lost productivity. The average company spending nothing on recruitment preparation and then spending a fortune repeatedly replacing bad hires is essentially funding their competitors who did do the preparation. You're paying for both your mistakes and their success. Beautiful from the competitor's perspective, painful from yours. Real example? Google. Google's famous Project Oxygen, a multi-year internal research project, identified the specific behaviors that made Google's best managers successful. The output became a competency framework. Google then redesigned their manager hiring and promotion process around that framework. Manager effectiveness scores improved significantly company-wide. Preparation, when done at that level of rigor, doesn't just improve recruitment, it improves the entire organization. Let's bring it home. Today we covered the 4 pillars of recruitment preparation, the work that happens before any recruitment activity. Job analysis, the systematic investigation of what a role involves. 5 methods: observation, interview, questionnaire, work diary, critical incident technique. Job description, the formal role document. Job title, duties, responsibilities, KPIs, reporting structure. Legal document as much as HR tool. Person specification, the ideal candidate profile. Rogers' 7-point plan. Physical attributes, attainments, intelligence, aptitudes, interests, disposition, circumstances. Essential versus desirable. Competency framework, observable success behaviors. Core, functional, and leadership competencies, the foundation of structured, bias-resistant interviewing. Here's what I want you to remember. The best hire you ever make will begin not in the interview room, but at your desk, with a blank page, asking yourself, what exactly does this role need? What exactly does this person need to be? The preparation is the work. If this video helped you understand recruitment at a deeper level, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. What's the most important recruitment preparation step that gets skipped at your organization? I want to know. Next up, we go deep into the selection process, interviews, assessments, reference checks, and how to make the final hiring decision. The preparation we covered today makes the selection process possible. See you in the next one.